I move into a discussion of all things Cryon. Joe from Long Beach in California is saying, after the dark energy has been defeated and the world starts to awaken, what happens to Cryon? You are a dear friend and it seems that you'll be out of a job. Your question makes me laugh, Joe. I love it. And then there's one last part to Joe's question to Cryon. Where will you go and what will you do when ascension is all over?
Joe, first of all, Lee Carroll, I'm not going to be here. That scenario you just described, according to Cryon, it's not going to be that way or complete for another generation at least. So I won't be out of a job. But Cryon has answered that in a different way, your very question. As you have indicated, there may not be a need for any channeling like you see today. Everyone will be able to receive good information through intuition. So instead of gathering around asking those kinds of questions to a channeler, like in this program, each individual will be able to channel this kind of knowledge for themselves. Now that is our promise. As for me in my next life, Cryon has already told me I won't be needing to channel, but rather to take the lineage of my DNA of the wisdom from Cryon, carry it into the next life, and teach it to build new paradigms and new unthought of systems. So I'm very happy with that, and I'm happy where I am now in the place of history. I find myself right now in the now. I really look forward to the next time, however.
Well, thank you, Lee. And again, before we start the discussions, I'd like to chat about that question a little more because I almost felt that Joe was also thinking that Cryon would be out of a job.
I don't know.
And it could be that we get so linear.
Yeah.
And for spirit, for creator, for God, for Cryon,
angels are not going to go away because we get enlightened. They're going to show up more.
But it's not a job for them.
Not a job.
It's not a job, it's their existence.
That's right.
But I do also remember, Joe, if I can speak to you in this way, that I heard Cryon say once that there'll come a time when the idea of gathering in a darkened room to hear channeling will not be needed. It'll be viewed as something quaint. And in that moment, I felt saddened because it has become such a joy to me to hear Cryon and the messages that come through Lee. There's this kind of euphoric connection. But then I got it when Cryon said, it's not going to be needed because every human will have that built in for themselves. They won't need to get it from another source. Can you imagine all of you who really just feel so uplifted and empowered by Cryon, who I don't know how many times we've been to seminars where someone will say, Cryon was speaking directly to me. I mean, to me and my situation. Because Cryon knows us so well. And if that has been you, imagine an entire planet that feels they have this connection to a bigger part of themselves that makes them feel that way and allows them to find those answers and the messages that they were needing exactly at that right time. So, Lee, I think that was a really good question from Joe to kind of elicit that information about where we're headed and why we have such a bright future.
I don't think we can imagine it. But I just love the idea.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you again for the questions. And if you do have a question for us, please go to your portal and submit them. But now we're going to move into another part of the program where Lee and I want to discuss the things that are near and dear to our hearts, what's happening, what's been happening, where we're going next.
I love to talk about some things that we never talk about. You know, we're starting to travel more, and we just came back from, it was a month ago, we went to Hot Springs, Arkansas, with a whole group. It was a beautiful group of people, and something happened, and I have to tell you, it surprised me, and yet I expected it. In Sedona, in, what was it? Was it a year ago? Now 2 years ago? I even forget.
Sedona 23.
Yeah. We had the green mist. Most of you members know, and we've talked about this, the green mist was actually something that Cryon did live in Sedona for the first time. And at that time, I was overwhelmed at what took place. Now, I'm sitting there, and Cryon comes in, he starts talking about this, something very, very new. The idea of a metaphoric mist that was a healing mist. It comes from the other side, it curls around us, it wraps around us, it hugs us. And then he said, very clearly, he said, be quiet. There was somebody who coughed. Cryon said, stop coughing. Cryon doesn't do that. The coughing was a result of somebody who felt something coming and they didn't want it. I know that. I was sitting there feeling it all. And then there was utter silence. And Cryon said, start feeling the healing angels that are coming in. And he brought in Saint Germain, finally, the violet flame. And I was just riveted to my seat. Not that I would normally get out of it, but I knew I couldn't move if I wanted to. That was special. Then later we find out there were healings in the audience, even one of our friends. And I realized there's something there. This is new. Cryon had never done that before. I want to do this again. But then I said, I'm not going anywhere for a while. And I hadn't for a year or so. So how could I do this? So we decided to do it online. This was the beginning of the Green Mist, everybody. I'm talking to members now. That Green Mist is yours every Sunday, first of the month. I believe it's 8:30. And you can experience this. Now, how well you get into it will then determine what kind of reception you're going to have. But that's where it came from. And I want to tell you, I'm going to do it again. I'm going to do it every single time I can where we have a live meeting. I want that repeated. So what happened is I did it in Arkansas, and it happened again. And people came up later and they said, I couldn't move. Something is happening there that is different, unusual, new, and powerful. So, just so you know where that came from, how I feel about it, and where it's going, this is something I didn't expect Cryon to be doing. It's a real strong healing meeting. So, that's what I wanted to talk about.
It was beautiful,
Yeah.
and if you missed being in Hot Springs, Arkansas, I love the question we had earlier about consciousness because it plays into what I'm going to share next.
I know what you're going to talk about.
Yeah, we had on the program Jeffrey and Clayton, who have created focused life force energy, and they asked us if they could have us pick moments in the Hot Springs meeting so that they could, using their technology that they have, capture that energy that was created and then resend that energy to another meeting. And I said, yes, I love the idea of doing this. So we've told Jeffrey and Clayton that the highlights from Hot Springs, Arkansas was when we had the Green Mist meditation and also the Circle of 12 meditation. And they are going to be at our meeting in Edmonton, Canada. And for our live audience there, they're going to broadcast the energy that was created at Hot Springs, Arkansas, from the Green Mist to that audience there. And how perfect that we had the question about consciousness and how we can send it and the mechanisms of how we can send it. And now we're actually going to be doing it and experiencing it. And the other thing, Lee, for me is that Hot Springs, Arkansas, it's a portal of energy which is amplified by the crystalline deposit that is in the ground. It's a Pleiadian portal.
Oh, it really was a place to feel that, I tell you.
It's so thick with the energy of the Star Mother. So the idea of Jeffrey and Clayton targeting an area that's known for the crystals, known for Pleiadian energies with Cryon and the Green Mist, and bringing that to us again in Edmonton, Canada is going to be great.
I don't want this to be a commercial. I just want to tell everybody where we're going to be just very briefly because we have other things we want to talk about. Just in case you didn't know and you didn't look, we are starting to, Monica and I want to travel and meet everybody again and get back on the road. We're going to be in Rochester with Dr. John Ryan with the Syrian Blue Whale Collective in September. I have been invited for the first time, to be with Gaia. This is the Gaia TV people, and it's going to be in Denver, October 19, for a live conference and streamed event. In July, July 10. We had